Rick Diet, I'm so glad I met you. It's about 7 years ago when I started using your products. It certainly changed my whole life. And oh my goodness, could you tell us a little bit about your background to just kick this off? Because you're not only a biochemist, but a really productive, prolific one and
Yeah.
working with lots of different arenas. So tell us what's going on.
So I'll give you a thumbnail sketch. I'm a biochemist. I like to say I'm a little different in the field because I'm both a pharmaceutical biochemist and a nutritional biochemist. If you go back to my schooling, I did my undergraduate. I have a degree in chemical engineering and biochemistry. My master's is in biochemistry. I was working on my PhD with the Duke University Comprehensive Cancer Center when I got married, and I needed to make money. So I couldn't, I didn't finish my PhD. I went into business to start making money. So I never finished my PhD, but I did all my research. In college, my research was primarily in peptides, small proteins, and their effect on human systems and receptors. And I became a neurobiochemist in that case. And so I worked on primarily venomous animals. So I worked on cone snail venom, and I've talked about this on stage. Cone snails, people can look them up. Cone snails are really cool. They're very collectible shells. A lot of people collect the shells because they're so pretty, but it's a cone-like shell. There's over 500 living species and thousands of extinct species. But cone snails sit in the bottom of the ocean and they stick out their tongue and it looks like a worm. And when a fish comes to eat it, it stabs the fish, injects a paralytic venom, and then pulls in the fish and eats it. And so we were studying the venom from the cone snails to see how it could affect human systems. And I was really working on alpha conotoxins and omega conotoxins. And alpha conotoxins bind to the acetylcholine receptor in the body and can do all sorts of things. They can deal with pain and inflammation and things like dementia, neurotransmission in the brain. So I was working on all that. And in the mid 90s, I was one day milking a snail, and it's really, really hard to milk a snail. And someone told me that cobra venom has alpha cobra toxin, which is very similar to alpha conotoxin, has the same receptor, a lot of the same benefits, but it's really, believe it or not, easy to milk a cobra, and you get a lot more venom from a cobra than you do from a snail. And so I started looking at cobra venom. That led me to the creation of my biotech company, Nutrapharma Corporation. We have 21 patents. Most of it surrounds the use of using venom peptides for the treatment of all sorts of things. So of our 21 patents, our three key patents are using cobra venom peptides to treat pain, using cobra venom peptides to treat autoimmune disease, and we focus on multiple sclerosis. And this year, we're actually scheduled to do two clinical studies in multiple sclerosis. We've done open label studies in over 300 patients. It's the first drug ever even looked at for MS that stops the forward progression of the disease and reverses symptoms over time. So that drug is called RPI-78M, and we have a lot of studies on that. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get through our phase 2 studies and we can make that drug available to the millions of people that need it. And then our third patent is on using cobra venom peptides to treat viruses. We've studied rabies, herpes, hep C, but right now we don't have a viral program in place, but that's something we're going to look at in the future. So that's me as a pharmaceutical biochemist. But as I said, I got married. I needed to make money. I was doing some consulting because I did something called computer adaptive drug design. We use a computer to make new drugs. And the theory was every hour I spent on the computer could save a year in the research lab because we'd see what worked and what didn't before we went and made it. So when I was doing this, there were maybe 300 people in the whole world doing that kind of work. So I did consulting at the time. And then I got married. I needed to make money. So I got a job at Rexall Sundown. They were looking for medical specialists, chemists, mostly for the marketing department. So my first job at Rexall was medical writer and technical specialist. I had to answer questions to the distributor for us at Rexall Showcase and tweak the content. So in other words, if someone said heart disease, I turned that into cardiovascular risk. That was my first job. But working at Rexall, I actually went in there with a big chip on my shoulder. I'm a real chemist. I'm a biochemist. I do drug research. I'm out saving lives. And my feeling for the nutritional industry, I wasn't completely it wasn't completely derogatory. I knew there were good things out there. I knew vitamins and minerals were basically what they are, but I read such ridiculous claims about so many different products that were going to save lives while I was working on drugs that were clinically proven. So I had a chip on my shoulder, and I called these people. We had lots of names, from herbal gerbils and tree huggers, and there were a couple of naturopaths that worked there. And this is not, I'm just saying at the time, it's not a dig to any naturopaths out there, because I've gained a lot of respect over the years. But we used to say, when someone said they were an ND, naturopathic doctor, we said that meant not a doctor, you know? And there was a naturopath that, when I first got there at Rexall Showcase, that really didn't know what she was doing. But while I was there, I got to work with these amazing people, and I got this great respect then for this nutritional biochemistry. And you realize that over 85% of all drugs come from natural products. So they start somewhere and then they become a drug. So I worked, even in college, I worked on Taxol, which comes from the Pacific yew tree and is used for treating cancer. I worked on camptothecin analogs, which is a chemotherapy. That comes from a little bush in China called the zishu, the happy tree, you know? And so almost everything we're working on came from nature anyway. We were just tweaking it. Aspirin comes from willow bark. It comes from nature, and then we do something to it to treat it. So pretty much everything we need is out in nature somewhere. We just have to find it, perfect it, and make sure people can have access to it. And so that was a big eye-opening at Rexall, where I got to work with some amazing people and become a nutritional biochemist. So while I was at Rexall, I actually worked for the network marketing division. That was my first entree to network marketing on the corporate side. Believe it or not, my father was in Nu Skin and Melaleuca in the 1980s. And so when I was a little kid, I saw my father in network marketing, and I didn't have a lot of respect for it, you know, because I saw my father worked really hard, didn't make any money. The products were really expensive. The products were okay. I saw some value to the products he was using at both companies, but I had that feeling in network marketing, you know, where you lose all your friends, you don't make any money, you know? And my father wasn't very good at it. But so there I am at Rexall Showcase, my first entree into the corporate side network marketing. And I got, for the first time, to get up on stage and talk about my products. And that's so exciting. You don't understand. Most people that do what I do, work in a lab, work in clinical research, that's it. They make the products, it goes out. There's no follow-up. Sometimes you go to meetings, like scientific meetings, you get to talk about your work. But I get to talk to the end user of the products and teach them how to use the products and hear their experiences. It's unbelievable. And it was an unbelievable experience for me. And I fell in love with it. I loved it. I love network marketing. I love making products for network marketing, where the end user gets to hear from me and gets the product. And I told a story on a conference. I once made a product. Remember that Rexall owned GNC. We're part of the same company. And so I once made a product that wound up on the shelves of GNC and was for prostate health. And I went into a GNC and I saw my product on the shelf. And I asked the sales guy, what was that for? And he goes, I think it's for your heart. It makes your heart really work well. I'm like, who trains these people? You know? So he had no idea. It was I made that product that was on that shelf. And so to me, it was terrible. But you ask the average distributor what our products were for, they know what they're for. They know what they're for. They have their own experience. They have people with their own experiences. It's very, very exciting to me. So I cannot say enough the experience at Rexall and what it did for me in my future. Okay. So from there, I made a bunch of products at Rexall, did a bunch of clinical studies. Eventually, Rexall got sold and sold again. I started working on zeolites in the mid 90s. Believe it or not, Rexall at the time was not interested in a zeolite product. And so I kept it for myself. And then later, another network marketing company launched my first zeolite product, and that took off. But of course, we see what happens. We all have PTSD in network marketing. And in every case, it's normally the management and the owners. So it's poor management and greedy owners. And so we saw time and time again, I would bring products into a company, they would do really well, the products would do really well, and then the company something would happen. So the last couple you were involved with, Neil Roth, my partner, brought me to this one company, loved my products, the products were selling, people were experiencing them. It's seeing this spike in sales, and then the owner of the company gets indicted on 32 counts of wire fraud and embezzlement. And so that company goes away. So then we go to another company, and that company gets sold, and they don't want my products. And so that's where finally Neil came to me and said, let's just make our own company. And I said, I don't want to make it. That's a lot of work. That is a lot of work. you know? I love making a product and making it finish good and telling people about it. I did not want to run a network marketing company. So we cut a deal. He would handle the business side. We'd have people doing the sales and I would handle the products. And he really didn't even convince me. I tell this honestly, he convinced my wife because I did not want to do this. I knew how much work it was going to be. I'm 57 years old now. So there I am in my mid 50s talking about writing books and trying to slow down and not work so hard. And I'm working harder now than I have in the last 20 years. You know,
Having fun.
I'm having a blast and we're helping a lot of people. That's the thing. How many people can we help? So the more we get out, the more we help. And so my wife convinced me to do it. She said it was the right thing to do. And so we launched Avini Health in basically March of 2022. So we're now almost 3 years old and we're killing it. It's like exploding. We're helping a lot of people. We're expanding. We're opening England in a couple of weeks. That'll turn into Europe. Eventually we'll open Asia. It's very, very, very exciting. So now I still have my biotech company. And like I said, we're doing our work in multiple sclerosis and ALS and pain. But to have this direct effect with Avini Health to affect so many lives on a daily basis, it's a mission. It's amazing.
Oh, talking about word of mouth, just to go on a side here. Okay, you've had this on the market, plus relief in earlier labels for a long time, but it just sat on a shelf, a tree in a forest of all this pain relief. When we launched Avini, you had this and some experiences happened pretty quick. How are we doing compared to the stuff on the shelf?
So yeah, I we had back in 2008, 2009, we met with the FDA and we had all these different drugs and all these different technologies. I said, how can we sell anything? I'm used to at Rexall, we made a formula, we were legally allowed to sell it. But if it's considered a drug, you can't just go and sell it. And so after meeting with the FDA, they told us that because the cobra venom peptides in that product, that pain reliever, were so low, it's a 10,000 times dilution. We're talking about average dose of 70 to 100 micrograms per milliliter. We qualified as a homeopathic drug, an infinitesimal dose of a natural product that's in the homeopathic pharmacopoeia. And so for the first time, we're like, wow, we can sell our products. And so I don't want to say we're complete failures. I'm not a marketing guy, I'm a scientist, but we had little spots of success. So we launched that first product in 2009. By the first quarter of 2010, we were in 35,000 stores. We're in CVS and Walgreens and Publix and Red Lion and Food King, and we had that product all over the country. The problem is I made the product and sold the product to a distributor, but that distributor blew everything up. They had a real attitude. Eventually, they sued CVS. It's not a good idea to sue the people selling your product. And next thing, the whole thing blew up. So we had a great 2009, 2010, and then it blew up. Then we had another company marketing it, New Vitality. New Vitality got 2 lawsuits that had nothing to do with us, and they canceled our contract, and they blew up. Then we tried, actually, someone approached me and tried to do it via network marketing. So they created a network marketing company. So again, I was making the product, selling it through the network marketing company. They had a spike in sales. It was beautiful. We had about 6 months of really great sales and helping a lot of people. But they decided to launch 70 other products and weight loss and skin creams and a gum that gave you energy that tasted like you peeled it off someone's shoe. It was really absolutely terrible. And that company was mismanaged from the very beginning. And that fell apart. So when we founded Avini, it was really just about what was available. I could make the fiber, obviously. I had the wherewithal of that. I could obviously make the zeolite because I was already making that for other companies. But Neil's like, what else could we launch? The Zmunity I had so much experience with the company that made the mushroom blend. But he said, what about your pain reliever? You're already selling that. Can you put an Avini label on it? And so actually, it wasn't even that. We started as an affiliate ship. We sold it with our label, our original Niloxin label. And it was only supposed to be for a short period of time. It was just supposed to be during the affiliate ship. But we had a couple of distributors that said it was life changing. People that said that Darren Sliver was the biggest proponent. He said that he had all this pain for all these years. He had gone through like 2 hip replacements and it changed his life. This product changed his life. He got off all of the pain relievers. It was non-numbing, non-narcotic. It didn't affect your cognitive function. It was just such a change that he said, we have to have this product. I didn't think pain relievers would fit into a network marketing model because we had tried it before and it wasn't enough for that model. But when we talked about it, we were able to put the Avini Plus Relief label on it. We spiked it a little bit, made it a little more effective, and it's become one of our top product lines, the Plus Relief product. So I had no idea it would do it. And certainly we still sell the weaker version on Amazon and through some stores and doctors' offices, but certainly the sales for Avini are much, much higher than the sales we have in other markets. That was the original question, but yes, you guys are blowing it away.
Let's get on with the new product. And I think you have some PowerPoints too. But when I first heard you talking a little bit about this, I've learned a lot of new words since I met you,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Clenoctilolide and all of these sorts of things. But phase 2 glucuronidase, your favorite metabolic pathway of livers. Livers do hundreds of different things, but maybe go into that. And also, just maybe before you do your slides, I've never heard of it, but you've actually been doing this and actually formulated products what, 25 years ago with that. And so you've got some familiarity with it. And maybe talk about what is it, CelluThrive? Is that different than other forms? And I'll just turn it over to you. Let's go for that.
Yeah. Well, so listen, I never want people to think that our products are old hat or old technology. The fact is that I've been in this industry for so long and we have made great products in the past. And I just talked about our pain reliever. We've launched that 6 times. It's a great, great, great product that's life changing. But just because you have a great product doesn't mean people know about it and it's going to sell. And I can tell you hundreds of stories in real marketing where great products just sat on the shelf for many years until someone figured out how to get the message out. And we had one of the benefits I have, and you've been to my office, I have filing cabinets full of formulations and raw material and ingredients and clinical research and all these, where we can say, what claims do we want to make? We already have clinically proven formulas that I've used before that are not being marketed today. We can talk about the work with the Plus Balance, but look at Plus Hydration. I didn't really want to launch the Plus Hydration. I thought it wasn't really in our product line, but the original product I made in 1998 for a Rexall showcase was called low osmolality replenishment drink. And it was like a high-end Gatorade. We had tons of research behind it. We used it in all these sports teams all over the world: New York Islanders, Toronto Blue Jays, Los Angeles Lakers, a lot of colleges. I worked with the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And then the Munich Barons hockey team, they were the #1 hockey team in Europe using our products, and they loved the what is now Plus Hydration. And so we're looking what products do we want to launch. And my wife goes, "Can you bring that back? It was my favorite product that you had." And so I go to Neil, and Neil goes, "You can make that's a great product." So we have the history of my research with all these other products that we can kind of pull in from the past, modernize, and be able to get to you guys. And so you have a new company with a new product that's 30 years behind it, that's published clinical research behind it. So that's the real benefit here, is that no one can say, well, it's new, we don't know what it's going to do. It's new, we don't know how it's going to affect people. We already have tons of evidence that supports everything we're doing. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. So I just started talking about this already, what our product philosophy is. We do not want to be like one of my problems at Rexall was we had over 400 products. We had multivitamins and multiminerals. We had multivitamins and multiminerals. We had beauty packs and weight loss packs and all this, like every possible thing for every possible need. And I said, we need to be laser focused. I think, and I'll probably get in trouble later for saying this, but I think as a mature company, we shouldn't have more than about 20 products. So as we grow, I don't want to be a catalog company. I don't want to be, and I'm not belittling other companies, but you look at Melaleuca. Melaleuca has everything. They have laundry detergent, they have stuff to wash your car, and then they have vitamins, minerals, and beauty bars and everything. I don't want to be that company. I want to be really specific in what we offer our distributors, and it's got to be different than everybody else. It's got to be unique. It's got to be exclusive to Avini Health. We make sure that it's made with the highest quality ingredients, proprietary manufacturing processes nobody has. So really, you can never take one of our products and go to the store and compare it. It's not going to happen. All right. And when you start looking at the products, now there are some products that are specific for some niche markets, but for the most part, our products are products that everybody actually needs. If you can communicate that to the people, they want it. They need it, they want it, and this is the only place to get it. So that's where we want to be as Avini Health. Now, we always want to talk about Cell Defender. The DNA of Avini Health is detoxification with zeolite, with the cell defender. That's the first thing. So everything starts with detoxification, but it's not enough just for the cell defender to go around and suck up toxins and remove them from the body. That makes everything healthier. Okay, a cleaner, healthier body fixes itself. But now we can be more targeted. So we're going to talk about things like how detoxification works. So when you talk about detox, for some reason, and I said this at conference, at the summit, for some reason, we have now figured out or feel when you say the word detox, it means going to the bathroom. Everyone thinks it means going to the bathroom. Oh, I'm on a detox. I'm on a cleanse. I'm on a detox. And all that you're taking is diuretics or laxatives, so you go to the bathroom. And while it's true, if you get things out of your body, by definition, you will be getting toxins out of your body. It's not targeted. And a lot of the toxins, depending on your ability to excrete, they're hidden. They're hidden in metabolically inactive tissue, like your fat or your bone, you know? So just going to the bathroom is not going to detox. So let's talk about how the body actually detoxes. The first step is what we call barrier or elimination. And they're, believe it or not, they're really the same thing. So barrier is how do you stop a toxin from getting in to begin with? So your skin is a great barrier. Your skin's a great barrier against toxic absorption. Your skin prevents most things from getting in. So your skin is a barrier for toxins. Then you have your digestive tract. It's hard for most people to understand, but when things are in the digestive tract, for all practical purposes, they're not in your body. They're still in the digestive tract. They haven't been absorbed through your blood vessels into your tissues. The digestive tract itself is just a transit system through your body. So the digestive tract has all sorts of key barriers to prevent toxins from getting in. And if they don't get in, you just poop them out. All right. So barrier didn't work. The toxin got into the body. Now what happens? So remember, and I'll have some slides on the liver, everything you eat and drink, everything goes through your digestive tract, every blood vessel from your digestive tract goes through the liver first. The liver is the portal to the rest of the body. So as everything goes to the liver, it tries to identify things that are toxic. Once it does, it transforms them. It tries to make them more water soluble so they can be eliminated through the urine. And there's all sorts of different transformation pathways, and I'll go over that in a few minutes. And this is where, in my normal lecture, I talk about my favorite transformation pathway, which is phase 2 human glucuronidation, which I really get to talk about now because now we're spiking that pathway. But usually I ask the crowd, what's your favorite liver transformation pathway? And it's amazing that not many people have a favorite liver transformation pathway. I guess they like them all. So they can't have a favorite, like you don't have a favorite child. So you have transformation. The liver transforms that toxin to be able to get rid of it. If you cannot prevent, eliminate, or transform the toxin, the body needs to do something with it to prevent damage. So that's called sequestration. The body takes that toxin, tries to hide it, usually in metabolically inert tissue like fat or bone. Now, remember also, the nerves have a sheath around them called the myelin sheath, which is a fatty sheath. That's also fat that can sequester toxins. Now, a couple things about that. We know that our exposure is higher than our ability to excrete. So it doesn't matter how healthy you are, increasing a body burden of toxins, every one of us. Because what we eat, what we drink, what we breathe has so many toxins in it, we don't have a mechanism to get rid of them. Okay, so all of us have a body burden of toxins. The second thing to understand is that just taking laxatives, taking diuretics is not going to get that out of the fat and out of the bone. The bone likes to hold on to things like lead. The fat likes to hold on to mercury and arsenic and cadmium. In fact, we found that fat cells that have the vacuoles and fat cells that hold fat and have a lot of toxins in them are actually protected from breakdown. They're less labile, they're harder to burn. And that's a protection mechanism in the body. The body doesn't want those metals out, those volatile organics out in circulation, so it protects that fat cell from breaking down the fat. So we found that if you detoxify, if you can eliminate those toxins and lower the amount of heavy metals and volatile organic compounds that are in fat cells, that fat becomes more labile. It becomes easier to break down and actually aids in weight loss. And Dr. Lonke's last book, Understanding Obesity, it's all about obesogenics and the fact that toxins increase the ability for the body to hold on to fat. And so that's first. So let's talk about some of these detoxification pathways. As I said, everything you eat, everything you drink goes into the liver first before it goes out to the rest of the body. And that's something a lot of people don't understand. So even medications, when you take medications, they go to the liver first. So having a healthy liver helps everything work better, even your medications. Now, the liver is a wonderful organ. It's a big organ, takes up most of the space in your peritoneum in the middle of your body. The liver is also pretty cool because most of the liver is completely the same. So the liver is the only organ that can completely regenerate itself. So you can be a living liver donor. If someone needs a new liver, you can donate half your liver to them, and eventually your liver will grow back completely. It's the only organ that will do that. So that's really cool that the liver has that capability if it's healthy. But the liver does all sorts of things. We know it detoxifies, but also manages metabolic function because it converts the T4 inactive thyroid hormone to T3. And then because of that, actually helps detoxify fat, helps stabilize your metabolism, creates energy in the body. The liver makes most of our vitamins, internal vitamins, and stores vitamins and minerals. It stores glycogen, so it helps with blood sugar balance. It makes bile, which is used for digestion, and then also, sadly, makes cholesterol. Now, we need some cholesterol, but the liver can make too much cholesterol. But the liver has so many uses. We need a healthy liver to be able to do everything we can, including detoxification. So I'm going to spend the next 3 hours talking about this slide. No, this is a very, believe it or not, very simple slide. It's just talking about toxins come in, and there's 3 phases to liver detoxification. The first is biotransformation. How can we transform the toxin to make it likely that we can conjugate it? So you have to tweak it a little bit. So you can use all sorts of different nutrients, vitamins, minerals to take these toxins and make them with a higher charge, increase its charge or decrease its charge. We can make it more reactive. If a toxin is not reactive, the biotransformation makes it more reactive. That leads to phase 2. Phase 2 is conjugation. That's really where transformation takes place to try to make the toxin water soluble so you can simply urinate it out. And you'll see number 2 on the list is glucuronidation. So glucuronidation helps balance hormones in the body to make things like metabolism work more efficiently. But there's all sorts of different transformation pathways that occur during conjugation and eventually elimination, where you basically go through the digestive tract or through the kidneys and the bladder, and you eliminate those toxins out of the body. And that leads us to Plus Balance. Where's my bottle? Yeah, I lost my bottle of Plus Balance. So I love this. And some people haven't noticed it, but they keep calling it balance. But the plus sign is in the B, Plus Balance. And the whole thing is on a seesaw, if you can see that. It's about balancing our lives. So I'm really fascinated by the logo. I think we did a great job on that. Our group at Sim did a great job. So Plus Balance. So what does Plus Balance do? It has key ingredients that support healthy hormone levels, but also because of that supports healthier hair, skin, nails, and even our blood vessels, because this stuff affects our blood vessels too. So let's talk about hormones just for a minute. People don't really know what hormones are. We know testosterone, we know estrogen, but hormones are basically directions for metabolic function. Okay, so if you have so much testosterone, it's telling the body you're going to be more masculine. That increases muscle mass, that can increase libido. So the testosterone tells the body what to do. It's called cascade reactions. Hormones trigger cascade reactions. So same thing with estrogen, it's more female attributes. But we have a lot of different things, different hormones that do all sorts of things in the body. Thyroid hormones, T4 and T3, what TSH, T4 and T3, balance all of our metabolism. So you need to spike T3 function to be able to basically have energy. And if you have less energy, it could be a thyroid imbalance. We have a selenium deficiency or an iodine deficiency where your liver's not functioning right to make sure that the thyroid's healthy and working properly. So all these are hormones. Now, here's the problem. You need to balance those hormones to be able to get everything working properly. Dysfunction of the liver, but even our diet can change the way we balance hormones in our body. And some things are not hormones, but they act as hormones. For example, plastics could act as what they call xenoestrogens. So plastic and leaching plastics especially plastics that can leach, or if you put plastics in a microwave and heat it up, it can form these compounds called xenoestrogens that act like estrogen in the body. And that can cause all sorts of damage because now you have too high levels of those estrogens. So you want to be able to balance those hormones out. Now, some people are concerned because I'm going to talk about how that works. If you balance the hormones, is that going to be dangerous for women going through menopause? Or say you're postmenopausal and you're on hormone replacement therapy. Can you use the Plus Balance? I'm going to say absolutely, because it's not about lowering hormones. It's about balancing hormones, making sure you're not getting too much and that it actually upregulates hormone function if you don't have enough. So that's important. So I'm going to talk about these ingredients one at a time, but this is the list of the ingredients. So the first one is calcium D-Glucarate. And what you mentioned already is, yes, I have almost 30 years experience with this ingredient. So it originally came as a dietary ingredient. Dr. Tom Slaga, who worked at the MD Anderson Cancer Research Center in the 90s, was doing the first research with it. He found that glucuronidation, if you could increase glucuronidation in the liver, you could reduce risk of hormone-sensitive cancers. And specifically at the time, he was working with ovarian cancer. But we found that it's hormone-sensitive cancers in women are breast, ovarian, uterine, and cervical cancer. And in men, it's prostate and testicular cancer. And the research he did showed that increasing the body's ability to undergo glucuronidation greatly reduces risk of those cancers, and during treatment for those cancers, greatly improves patient outcomes. So by balancing those hormones. So D-glucarate, glucaric acid, is naturally found in all sorts of fruits and vegetables. It's found in the skins of oranges, for example. So we're getting some of it in our diet, and our body makes some of it. But if you get extra, especially this calcium D-glucarate salt, it makes it much more bioavailable to be able to have its function. So what does it actually do? This is where you got to kind of use your imagination. I'm going to work on doing something more animated in the future, but understand this. You have the enzyme glucuronidase attaches to the toxin. That's its transformation pathway. Once it does that, it's more water soluble and it can transport the toxin out of the body. But you have another enzyme called beta glucuronidase. The job of beta glucuronidase is to free up glucuronidase, kind of recycle it, so it's available to take another toxin. The problem is that occurs so readily in the liver that you have glucuronidase grabs a toxin, beta glucuronidase makes it let go. And so it grabs it, lets go, grabs it, lets go. But now that glucuronidase hasn't had a chance to pull the toxin out of the body. So it's an important metabolic safeguard, but it's overused. And so you don't get enough toxins out of the body. So you can see this beta glucuronidase frees the toxin from glucuronidase. And so it recycles the glucuronidase so it can be used again, but you really want it to pull the glucuronidase to pull the toxin out of the body. So what does D-glucarate do? It blocks beta glucuronidase. It binds to that enzyme that could normally recycle and the glucuronidase and free the toxin. So it seems like such a simple thing. You bind the enzyme that's getting in the way, but it spikes function dramatically. It allows the liver to work so much better, and it amplifies glucuronidation multiple times, 200, 300, 400%. And that's, like I said, clinically proven, originally from the MD Anderson Cancer Research Center and Dr. Tom Slaga. So it's a very elegant mechanism that has a lot of downstream benefits. So that ingredient now is called CelluThrive. It was originally Tom Slaga's in the 20s, in the late 1990s and early 2000s. So now AFS, Applied Food Sciences, has bought all the clinical research and all the data, and they create the product CelluThrive, which is what we use. So it's the branded ingredient that has all the research behind it. So next thing we're going to talk about is sesbenia. So a lot of people, I have to apologize. That's my package. I warned you, David. 1 second.
While he's doing that, one of the interesting things, you look this up, sesbania, and it's called the hummingbird vegetable. And if you look at pictures, the blossom looks a lot like a hummingbird. So that's pretty interesting. And a little bit about this, they found a way to take this plant and ferment it, and it gives you biotin, which is a B vitamin, with a lot of associated cofactors. So it's just a really good source of biotin, which does really good things. The thing I love about Rick is he's created just a really complementary bouquet of all of these different nutrients all in one product that just synergistically really powers up this compared to anything else that you can buy. One of the things along that idea is if you look up this calcium D-glucarate in Amazon, when I first I thought, I'm going to look around and check out some of the reviews and everything, and you just have these amazing testimonies of what people are doing. But then as Rick goes into it, there's a lot of cofactors that make it work better, and you put it all together, and we just got the best deal with standardized trademark product that is the best. So back to you, Rick.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's important. Yes, there are a lot of branded ingredients, but sometimes you'll look at the research and realize that the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And I'll tell you this, I say it kind of tongue in cheek because the first product I ever really looked at was a vitamin C product. And this guy had this product that was a very absorbable, usable vitamin C, and it was branded ingredient. It had all this research on it. And it said that you get twice the benefit of vitamin C from it, but it was 10 times more expensive. So I said, you know what? I can actually give people twice the vitamin C, get the equal benefit to yours, and it's only twice as expensive, not 10 times as expensive. So a lot of times you have to say, it's a great product, great research, but the juice isn't worth the squeeze. That's the other thing we do. We've talked about this before. We're very price conscious. We want to make sure we have a great product at a good price for our distributors. And I'm not saying that we'll never raise prices, but in all of this news over the last 3 years of inflation, we've never raised the price of a single product. So we've been very proud of that, being able to keep our costs down and making sure that we didn't harm the distributors with our pricing. Okay. So that being said, when we're talking about things like improving hair, skin, nails, one of the things you really need is biotin. Biotin is a B vitamin. It's actually made in the liver and stored in the liver. Biotin is a cofactor in the use of collagen throughout the body. And so lots of people take B vitamins to get biotin, but this one extract, this plant from Africa, it was in South Asia and Africa, it has very high levels of biotin, but it has what we call chaperone molecules. These chaperone molecules work with it to spike biotin utilization. And again, it's not just a branded ingredient of Suspenia, the RGen-Bio, but it's clinically proven. So there's clinical research behind it to show its benefit. Now, like I said, biotin, that's the molecule biotin. It supports healthy hair, skin, and nails. It reduces hair loss and loss of hair color. It's even good for cellular growth because just like it works in preventing senescence in the hair follicles, it actually works with skin cells as well. Some people say because it helps with energy metabolism, like other B vitamins do as a chaperone, it prevents fatigue, exhaustion, and improves nerve function. So everyone knows biotin. Everyone knows biotin is a B vitamin, but it's important in this particular product, in this Suspenia extract, that it's a form of biotin that's actually getting in and having its most utilization. So here's a couple of studies that they actually did with it, showing its antifungal and antioxidant activity, actually increasing heavy metal chelation, which is incredible because this was going hand in hand with what the cell defender is doing. So it's actually improving the function of the zeolite in the product. We know that it improves liver function, so it works against hepatotoxicity and cytotoxicity. So all that is how this stuff works for biotin to be able to use the other components in the Plus Balance to make healthier hair, skin, nails, and improve energy and improve liver function. Now we get to collagen. And this is one of the things everybody wants a collagen product. Get me collagen, get me collagen. The problem is that people don't really know what collagen is for. Some people say, oh, it's for your skin. Oh, it's for your joints. I take collagen for my joints. But to understand what collagen very basically is structure. The structure of your body, your hair, your skin, your nails, your blood vessels is collagen. If you look at the top left, you'll see it's what we call a triple helix. These strands form, these protein strands, and they braid together. And then those braids line up in tubes. And that's the structure of everything. It's your cartilage, it's your bone, it's your nails. Everything is collagen. Now, the problem is there's 28 different types of collagen. They're slightly different based on what's actually in them and the repeating polymerization of the collagen. So most people think of type 2 collagen mostly for your joints. Type 1 and type 3 are skin, hair, and nails, your organs, and the walls of your blood vessels. So we know that as we age, if you look at the lower left, we lose collagen. So that means that's why we lose skin elasticity, we get wrinkled, our skin hardens, gets thinner. That's actually the loss of collagen over time. What do you do for anti-aging? You get collagen, but you have to have collagen that can be used in the body and used where it's needed to be used. So here's my problem. Collagen is protein. Protein usually comes from animals. So if you look at all the collagens out there, there's bovine collagen from beef, there's avian collagen from chickens, there's marine collagen from salmon, there's porcine collagen from pigs. So I knew I wanted collagen in this product. Everybody had these great collagen products. The most effective collagen products clinically at the time were porcine, pig collagen. But I knew I was going to have a trouble with people that are vegan, that people are religious. If they're halal or kosher, they're not going to use a product from pork. So I sat down with Neil last year. I said, we're going to make this collagen product. What form of collagen do we choose that's going to offend the least amount of people? That was the choice. What can I pick that, because someone's going to be offended. So what can I pick that's going to offend the least amount of people? And then we walked the ingredient show in October and we found a vegan collagen. I didn't think it existed, but it's a vegan collagen. It's a completely a vegetable origin. It's clinically proven with published studies behind it. And it's both type 1 and type 3 that work together. And like I said, stronger hair, skin, nails, tissues of your blood vessels and tissues of your organ. It's a great marketing story because we have a vegan collagen. Not a lot of people are using this ingredient. It is a very expensive ingredient. It's the most expensive ingredient in the product. But I think it was worth it because I don't think we're going to offend anybody. Dave, is anyone offended? Because it's vegan?
Not at all. The thing that's exciting, it looks like on the clinical studies, it seems several times more effective than the animal source collagen. So you get
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
bang for the buck.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're reducing the wrinkles around the nose by 72%, crow's feet by 80%. And this is just a 60-day trial. There was continued improvement after this. All right. Because they follow these patients. But within 60 days, and I'm sure, like we just launched this product a few weeks ago, I'm sure in the next couple of months, and I'm hoping people are doing this, taking pictures and comparing. I'm sure we're going to see people with less wrinkles and but more supple skin and just feeling better. We're going to get a lot of physical testimonials out of this. And I've said this before, one of the biggest problems in this industry is making the intangible tangible. I can tell you a product lowers your cholesterol. No one stops you in the street and says your cholesterol looks great today, you know? But if you're taking a product and you're looking younger, you have clearly have more energy, what are you doing? You look fabulous. And what am I doing? I'm taking Plus Balance. Yeah, I think it's going to make a huge difference to our lives, but also to the business. All right. And then we have saw palmetto. And this is interesting because most people think of saw palmetto for prostate health. They think it's what men have taken for over 800 years to benefit the prostate. It does block an enzyme that cycles testosterone, makes testosterone and DHT. And one of the things that happens with DHT levels is you have an enlargement of the prostate, what they call benign prostatic hypertrophy, BTA, benign prostatic, BPH. And for many hundreds of years, it's been used among American Indians to treat BPH. And it's kind of funny because I gave a lecture like this 20 some years ago, and I had a doctor in the audience. It was just rude. He was horrible. And he said, well, we appreciate your infomercial, but how do we know? You say it's been used for 800 years for prostate health. Like they knew it was for their prostate. I said, they didn't have to know. They know that the chief got up 8 times a night to go urinate because he had an enlarged prostate, and he took this and he didn't have to get up in the middle of the night anymore. So we can tell from symptomatology what was wrong and how it benefited. And then, of course, mechanistically, we know exactly how it works. That's when we talk about historic medicine. We have to realize that in most cases, we understand its mechanism now and why it worked historically for their uses. But here's what's new. Even though it's great for prostate health and been proven, it's tons and tons of prostate formulations, that mechanism of reducing the activity of 5-alpha reductase actually, by blocking DHT cycling, it not only balances hormones and balances testosterone levels, but it prevents hair loss. And so new studies that have just been published in saw palmetto show that if you take certain dose of saw palmetto, it can actually thicken hair and increase hair growth. And so here we are trying to improve hair growth with collagen and by balancing hormones with the D-glucarate and getting the suspania biotin. But now we have this that's going to prevent the thing that stops the hair from growing and causing senescence in your hair to fall out. So we're getting it from both ends. So I really do believe that we're going to see, as people's skin get better, we're going to see their hair get thicker and fuller and less gray. And I got to tell you, I just noticed today, I don't know if you can see I gray my eyebrows. I didn't notice that until today. I said, what's going on? I'm 57. I'm starting to get some salt and pepper and some gray. So I'm hoping that I'm going to take some pictures and see if that goes away over time. And then we have Pygeum africanum. This is a tree in Africa that's long been used for sexual performance. So it's been used in Africa to improve libido and improve sexual performance. But we know that it works very similarly to the saw palmetto through a different mechanism to block the cycling of testosterone. So by doing so, it does increase sexual performance, what the surface circulation for sexual performance, but also aids in prevention of hair loss. Then we have DIM. So DIM is an incredible product. So DIM is actually a metabolite of I3C. So for many, many years, we know the indole 3-carbonyl, which is naturally found in cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower. We knew that was anti-cancer. And there have been literally hundreds of publications on the use of I3C as chemopreventive and even chemotherapy, chemotreatment. The problem is that you have to get it from the vegetables. I3C is so labile that whenever someone makes a pill out of I3C, it just does not get in. It doesn't increase I3C levels in the body. So DIM has become the new darling of the community because DIM is a metabolite of I3C that's the active metabolite. You can put in a supplement. It does get in the body and increase levels of DIM throughout the body. So it is anti-inflammatory, anti-proliferative, chemopreventive, and may actually help increase bone mass over time. Clinically proven against breast and prostate cancers, which is exactly what we're talking about, hormone-sensitive cancers. So yeah, tons of information on DIM out there, tons of new clinical evidence. And of course, vitamin D3. Vitamin D has become huge over the last even hundreds of years. We knew that vitamin D deficiencies led to rickets because you need vitamin D for strong bones, strong teeth, things like that. We also know that the sun on the skin triggers the cycling of vitamin D and makes it active. That's why people that got vitamin D deficiency were usually kids working in factories, kids living indoors that didn't get sunlight. Well, what's happened over the last 20 or 30 years is that we're so afraid of the sun. All of us are wearing sunblock on everything. All of the makeup has sunblock. All of our lotions have sunblock. And we're actually becoming more and more vitamin D deficient simply because we're blocking the sun from doing what it normally does, which is make vitamin D in the body. The other thing we've understood is that vitamin D modulates and mediates immune cells in the body. So aside from its function of bone mineralization, it actually functions to increase immune system health and actually, again, enhances the production of anti-inflammatory compounds in the body. The side effect of that is it actually influences hormone production and modulates hormone levels. So we put vitamin D3 there. You cannot overdose on D3. D3 is a precursor. And so the body has it to use it. The other thing people keep asking me is, why didn't I put K1 or K2 in this formula? K1 and K2 are shuttling vitamins. They actually take the D3 and put it into the bone and into the teeth. That's not the purpose of the D vitamin in this product. We don't want it deposited for bone growth. We actually want this for hormone function. So it was not necessary to put K in this formula. So people were asking me that constantly. I'm glad I had this venue to be able to tell them that, because everyone sees vitamin D is always with vitamin K. Why not in this product? Okay.
I think it's also interesting that D3 might be more accurate to call it a hormone rather than a vitamin and the way it functions. And that, since this is a hormonal product, that seems to fit in really well.
Well, the definition of vitamin is cofactor. So vitamin never does anything just itself. It's a cofactor in the use of other biomolecules and enzymes, but vitamin D is a cofactor in dozens of different reactions. So you're right, it kind of acts like a hormone because it does create a cascade. And hormones, by definition, are cascade molecules. So yeah, it's absolutely true. And then, of course, we add Detoxolite, which is our micronized and activated zeolite. It gives antioxidant protection, shuttling mechanism, and improves nutrient utilization. But in this particular formula, because we already see what the biotin, the suspenia, does as far as cleaning up toxins, it spikes that activity. So the Detoxolite in this particular product is going to become a much better detox agent with the cell defender. So I'm also going to say this. Everyone keeps saying, well, you got zeolite and everything else. I cannot take cell defender. Understand they're different. The zeolite that's in the cell defender and the cell defender for pets is what we call fully micronized or phase 2 zeolite. That's submicron particles, the average particle size less than 1 micron, all the way down to 347 nanometers. I did just purchase my new toy in the lab as a particle size analyzer. So we're going to be able to analyze batch to batch everything we make and be able to actually publish that to the website to show the particle size of our zeolite. And I'm not a big fan of analyzing other people's products, but it's getting to the point where we're becoming so popular. Pretty much everyone out there with a zeolite now is trying to compare to us. And so this gives us an opportunity to look at their zeolite, do their particle size, and show that they just don't know how to micronize their zeolite. So we're going to be able to do that in the near future. But the Detoxolite that's in all the capsules, it's in the fiber, that's in the other products, is what we call first pass zeolite. It's not as small. The average particle size is about 5 microns. Its purpose is really nutrient utilization, absorption through the gut, and shuttling mechanism for the other products. So taking the zeolite and the other products doesn't abrogate the need to use the cell defender. The cell defender comes first. It's the first step. It's the tip of the spear. And then all the other products go in support of that. So again, that leads us to the Plus Balance. It's a really amazing formula. As Neil said at conference, he said it several times since, this alone could be a whole business. This alone could be a business in and of itself. Just look at what we're claiming it does. And we're going to see this over the next few months. But it's going to balance hormone levels. Actually, we don't list it, but it's going to improve liver function. So it's going to support a healthy liver. It's detox support, healthier hair, skin, and nails. We're going to see this in the faces and the activity of our distributors over the next couple of months. So again, very, very powerful product. I think since we launched the business with our core products, we have launched Mind and Vision. We've launched Plus Cardio Care. What's that? Oh, sorry about that.
I was looking on the label. It says take 2 capsules to balance your life. So if I took 4 capsules, would I be more balanced?
I guess that's for marketing. Yeah, there's really nothing in here that you can take too much of. Some people are always concerned about vitamin D, 10,000 IU, taking 20,000 IU, but it's D3, so you really can't overdose on D3. So yeah, if you wanted to double up, especially if you're known to have hormone-sensitive cancer or risk of hormone-sensitive cancer, you probably want to take a little more. So you take 2 in the morning, 2 at night. But yeah, but I think since the founding of this company, I think this is the most powerful product we've launched since the initial product launch of Avini Health.
Oh, that is fantastically exciting. We could do some questions, but we've already been on an hour already. But
it's been an hour. I tried to get to the chat earlier. Feel better. Thank you. All right. So it's a lot of questions about dosages. So the only thing in any of our products that could basically be, I don't even want to say dangerous, but could have an issue is selenium. Selenium is a micronutrient. It's absolutely necessary for life. You need about 200 micrograms a day of selenium to live. It's absolutely necessary for life, but it has a narrow therapeutic range. You don't want to get more than 910 micrograms a day for a long period of time. That's what they call the Lowell level, the lowest observed adverse effect level. So if you see, I don't have the stuff in front of me, but we do have selenium in the Plus Cardio Care and in the meal replacement that we announced at Summit, but it'll be coming out in a few weeks. So I tell people when they're taking those products to make sure that they try to stay under 900 micrograms daily of selenium. Otherwise, all the products can be taken together. There's really no other issues that could actually be an issue. And then someone talks about weight. Is the same dose appropriate? It really depends on the product. So yes, for the most part, when we do clinical research, we say milligrams per kilogram. So we say that someone who's bigger usually needs more, but it really depends on the person and the product. Certainly, a lot of people like to take more of our products, like Dave just mentioned. If 2 balances me, would 4 balance me more? So yes, you could certainly take more of it, but the clinical evidence that we have used that I just showed you on our slides is on the amounts that are in the bottle. Those are those amounts. So you can expect to get at least those results based on what you're taking on a daily basis. So the other thing is really a very personal thing. Would more help based on weight? It really depends on the product and the person. So is that Detoxolite powder for another products as clean as a CD liquid? Yes, we still activate it. So it is micronized and activated. It's really the same product except for particle size. Okay, so the Detoxolite that's in the capsules, and part of that is on purpose because when you micronize it down to submicron, it's really, really hard to work with. It's such a fine powder. Even just opening the lid of it, if it's in powdered form, it starts dusting out into the air. Any breeze, you start losing material because it's so super fine, it'll just float away. All right. That's one of the reasons when I first made my Zeolite colloidal suspension, I put it in water. I said, it's so hard to work with. We're going to lose 90% of it every time we use it. And so right from the micronization, we put it into the ultra pure water because we're going to lose some of the finest particles. Okay. What is the source of vitamin D? I have that. It's a vegetable source, but I'd have to find that for you. And I already said, why do we not have K? I just said that. Okay, so you misunderstand when I said shuttling. So K1 and K2, when it shuttles, it takes vitamin D to the bone and attaches it to the bone where it increases the activity of osteoclasts. So it actually takes calcium and puts it into the bone. That's the purpose of the K vitamins with vitamin D. Well, the zeolite shuttling mechanism is different. The zeolite shuttling mechanism is the zeolite loves to suck up heavy metals and volatile organic compounds. So it's taking up mercury and lead and cadmium and arsenic, but it still takes up calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, sodium. It just doesn't like those atoms. So it'll take calcium in, and then there's a mercury, it'll suck up the mercury and spit out the calcium. That's called cation exchange. So the zeolite will keep doing that over and over again until the highest affinity atoms are stuck inside the zeolite. But the effect of that is, imagine the zeolite's going around your body, and there's a part of your body that has a ton of calcium in it. It'll take up some of that calcium. And then somewhere else in the body where there's less calcium, it'll let go of that calcium. And so it has the ability to actually shuttle atoms all over the body. We get better utilization of those materials. So it's a really secondary function of the zeolite that helps balance everything in their body. It's just part of the balancing. So when I say shuttling, that's what I mean with the zeolite. It just makes everything work better because it's moving things around the body where it can be better used.
Elegant dance.
Yes. Someday I'm going to get with a really good animator. I'm going to animate all this stuff because I see it in my head, and it would be really great if I could just show pictures of it in cartoons, you know? Plus balance, take it with or without food does not matter. I'm very clear about that. I try to make sure that we don't have any specific food related issues with our products so they can be taken with or without food. I will let you know if there's something that needs to be taken on an empty stomach or definitely with food, but the plus balance can be taken with or without food. So as someone's on Ozempic, does it balance counter? Does the plus balance count? No, it's not counterproductive. Ozempic is a GLP-1 modulator, so it's a completely different mechanism. It does tend to, because it increases leptin and ghrelin in the body, it does turn down satiety. It would turn up satiety, so it turns down appetite. It really has no difference with the plus balance. They're completely unrelated. I will tell you this, the biggest thing that's happening now with the GLP-1 products is that we're realizing that people, two things, they're not eating enough because their part of it is satiety. So you're not hungry, so you don't eat enough. And that same pathway, the GLP-1 pathway, is necessary for nutrient absorption. So even the stuff you're eating, you're getting less value from the food you're eating. So we're seeing a lot of nutrient deficiency with people on GLP-1s. This has spawned a whole cottage industry of people making products, meal replacement shakes and vitamins and minerals. specifically for people on GLP-1 products like Ozempic. So you got a new drug, and now it's spawned a whole industry to support that new drug. So I'm not a fan of the drug. I'm not going to tell anyone they shouldn't use it or don't use it. I'm not a fan of the drug. It does have a lot of side effects. So I hope you're managing those side effects. But if you are on a GLP-1, you really need to make sure that you're eating right, you're taking proper nutrition. I would argue that the meal replacement that we're coming out with would help a lot because it's a low calorie product with a lot of protein and a lot of nutrients in it. So that would help a lot, not just for weight loss, but also for people on GLP-1s. So what total combination products are most effective for mold and metal toxicity? Well, certainly metal toxicity, you just have to be on the cell defender, and you can always take an escalating dose of the cell defender. Molds, I would say to the Nano Silver. The Nano Silver, I've said this time and time again. The Zeolite, the cell defender, and the Nano Silver is such a good 1-2 punch. The Zeolite takes out all the non-living things that don't belong in your body, while the Nano Silver takes out all the living things that don't belong in your body. By taking them together, you're getting everything that shouldn't be there. The eviction crew, just going through and getting everything that doesn't belong in your body. So certainly I would say between the cell defender and the Nano Silver, you're going to get most of it. And then of course you could look at the Zmunity specifically for balancing immune system support against those things. And then lastly, now I'm talking about a lot of stuff, the plus fiber. The fiber is going to clean out your digestive tract. And a lot of people that have mold issues have basically auto intoxication, where you have things in the body, in the digestive tract, they're consistently growing bacteria and things like that. So the fiber will help clean that out as well. Do you have information doses specific for healthcare practitioners to give to patients? Not really. For most of the products, we do have white papers. We do have webinars and things like that. I do teach physician courses. I've done a lot of continuing education for doctors, but the dosage information that we normally recommend is exactly what's on the label, and we have the clinical evidence to support what's on the label. So certainly, if you want to use more, you can, and we can talk about the purpose of using more. But what we normally recommend the doctor is exactly what's on the label. I don't understand what it means. How does it allow dreaming? I don't know what that means. Do you know, Dave?
Oh, Avini helps us dream big.
Well, so many things. That was one of the biggest surprises for me with the Plus Mind and Vision. Within a week of launching it, people were calling me and saying they're having these really vivid dreams. And I said, well, it is spiking neurotransmission in the brain. Your brain is probably more active than it's ever been in your life. And so they were seeing that basically as vivid dreams, which I thought was cool. So I don't know if they're having bad dreams, but I think it's really cool that it shows the brain working the way it's working. The products help to open blocked blood vessels similar to chelation. We can't really say exactly if you have a blocked blood vessel, you should be under physician's care and maybe you actually need surgical intervention. But if you look at the stuff in Plus Cardio Care, I specifically talk about the L-citrulline and L-arginine for nitric oxide, that's relaxation of blood vessels, and the sorbitol palmitate, the fat-soluble vitamin C that's clinically proven to prevent and actually reverse arterial and atherosclerosis. So it's hardening of the arteries and blockages in the arteries, because that vitamin C is fat-soluble. It actually gets into the plaques in the blood vessels and can help break down, reduce oxidative stress in there and break down those plaques over time. And that's been clinically proven. So certainly if someone has any cardiovascular issues, they should look into Plus Cardio Care. When will you have a 5-ish minute video for the new products? Okay, I tell you, we just made a ton of new videos a few months ago, and this is always what happens. We launch a new product and now I need all new content. So I did that 17-minute video on all the products. I don't know if you guys have watched that. I did that in one take.
That's
I did
great.
it one take. I sat there with all the products in front of me. I went bam, 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 through all the product. I was very proud of myself. And then we launched more products. It's like, do I have to do that all over again? Can I just add it to the 17-minute video? So yes, we will probably next 30 days or so, we'll update the content again. The other thing too is, I hate to say that I'm not the perfect product of the product. I've been working very hard. I haven't been working out. I haven't been really taking care of myself like I should. I've actually gained a little weight. So now that we have the meal replacement, we're focusing on things like hair, skin, and nails. I'm hoping I look better in the next 3 months. And I'd really love to redo all the videos with the new Rick Deitch. So hopefully in the next 3 months, we're going to see that I'm a product of the product. You can see the changes in me as I use these products, and we'll be able to do a lot more videos. So could balance help with a heartbeat issue called PVCs? Well, again, anything cardiovascular, I would look at the Plus Cardio Care. PVCs are electrical, which is hormone mediated, so it might help. We're not specifically looking at that for the Plus Balance, though. It certainly couldn't hurt. So person Coumadin therapy okay. Like I said, D3 is the precursor. So if you're just taking vitamin D or D1, sometimes it has issues with blood clotting, but this will not have any issues. Nothing in here that will have an issue on prothrombin time, and it's not contraindicated with blood thinners. Does calcium get inside of bigger particles of Detoxolite? Yes. I guess maybe you don't understand what I'm talking about. So the Zeolite is a cage. Okay. I think I even have. Let's do. Oh.
The cage is the same size, but the clusters of cages are bigger sets of cages together. But
Oh, it's not. I'm on my Mac. It's not letting me put my Zeolite behind me. So yeah, so I have a Zeolite background I use sometimes in my office, so I can see the cage of the Zeolite. So the Zeolite cage is the Zeolite cage. It's repeating 8 and 10-sided pores, 8-sided, 10-sided, 8-sided, 10-sided, which are about, I think about 4.2 by 4.2 nanometers and 4.2 by 7.2 angstroms and 4.2 by 4.2 angstroms, which is 0.42 by 0.72 nanometers. So you know the size of the pores in the Zeolite cage. And all we're doing is making smaller cages. So they get absorbed from the digestive tract into the bloodstream. The pores do not change. So yes, it doesn't matter how small or large the cages are. The ions, the heavy metals, are going to get into the zeolite cage. I think that's the question. Okay. So that's the cool thing about zeolites. The biggest thing that differentiates zeolites from clays like bentonite is that zeolites don't change shape when they get wet. They're solid, rigid cages. Whereas bentonite and clays like that swell up and shrink depending on their hydration status. And that changes its activity depending on its hydration. So that's one of the coolest things about zeolites. They're so stable. They're amphoteric, so it doesn't matter if they're in a strong acid or a strong base. They're always stable and always rigid. So you can depend on its activity. So are out there medications which get negatively influenced by any of our products? I know what they mean by out there medications. The only thing I really talk about is platinum-based chemotherapies. Platinum is, the zeolite has great affinity for platinum. So if you're on a platinum-based chemotherapy, like cisplatin or carboplatin, oxaliplatin, you cannot take the zeolite when you're on that chemotherapy. My recommendation, and in published clinical studies, what they did with the patients on the zeolite taking platinum-based chemotherapy, is they discontinued the zeolite a day before treatment and started again 2 days after treatment. That gives the platinum plenty of time to kill cancer, but then use the zeolite to remove the platinum so it's not killing healthy cells, not killing healthy tissue. In that published study, which was just published a few years ago, patients using the zeolite on platinum-based chemotherapy had better outcomes, so it treated their cancer better, and they had no side effects from the chemotherapy. The number one side effect of platinum-based chemotherapy is chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy, CIPN, and all of the patients in zeolite did not have peripheral neuropathy. All the patients in placebo have peripheral neuropathy. So it eliminated that side effect while improving patient outcomes. So that just shows you how the zeolite can really work with chemotherapy to prevent side effects from the chemo. Updates on meal replacement. So the problem is it all came down to the flavor. And I'll tell you this, Neil was your biggest advocate. I had the product. I thought it was finished. It wasn't delicious. It was a good chocolate shake. And I gave it to Neil and he didn't like it. He said, not good enough. He didn't want to launch it. And so we went to a flavor house and we got all the things that blocked the metallic taste of some of the minerals and tweaked it. And we were able to make a few hundred, actually about 400 canisters for launch at the conference. But that was a favor from the flavor house. They're now making a much bigger order, about 100 kilograms of each of the components, so we can actually get into production. We're waiting for those components. We should have them in the next week or so. Our goal is to be able to officially launch it by the middle of next month. So by the 12th or 13th. To be able
delicious.
To have
it's the best.
It is really good. So you got to give it to Neil because Neil's the one who held out for a better taste. I said, let's just launch. I can fix the taste later. He said, no, you only have one chance to launch a product. So Neil was your advocate. He made me make it perfect. But because of that, we have to wait for those components. The thing is this, we know for sure the chocolate components are coming in to make the chocolate product. We're also working on the strawberry product. So I would very much like it that by the 12th or 13th of April, we have both. We might have the chocolate and the strawberry. So we're working on that. And then following that, the next month, we should have it available in packets. So we're going to have, they're like 4-inch by 5-inch packets with the meal replacement in them. So we'll have the canister with the scoop. And then within a month or so, we'll have it available in packets as well.
Well, we probably better scoot. I think this might be a record length featured film with Rick. So
I just have a few more. So someone asked about MD continuing education. That's very individual. If you work in a hospital, if you're a physician, most hospitals, most medical establishments have a continuing education coordinator, a CE coordinator. If you want me to do a CE course, I'm happy to do it. The coordinator will reach out to me. They'll look at my presentation. They'll look at my credentials. They'll certify the education. And then usually you have to pay for it. I wouldn't pay for it, but the distributor would. They call it lunch and learn. So doctors are going to come because they need the credit, but they also get fed, you know? So a lot of times you give them lunch and then they sit there through my lecture. And then, of course, we do a Q&A. I'm happy to do that anywhere someone wants me to do a CE course. So someone talked about methylation SNPs. Yes, if you have methylation SNPs, any kind of, we talked about this, Dr. Lonke talks all the time about negative epigenetics. Between the Zeolite and the Plus Balance, I think we're going to see a lot of benefit with reversing negative epigenetics. Decreased protein in the urine, I have one kidney. I don't know if the Plus Balance will decrease protein in the urine. That's a good question. It certainly is going to help balance the way it's utilized. But drinking plenty of water, taking the zeolite will help improve kidney function with the one kidney because it helps shuttle calcium. But I don't know if it's going to specifically decrease protein in the urine, but a healthy kidney certainly will. Jacqueline says, I look great. Thank you, Jacqueline. I can only tell you that I've looked better. If you have an LVAD, would you be a good candidate for plus cardio? Again, it depends. Anyone on an LVAD is probably on a heart transplant list. An LVAD is a temporary thing. They'd have to talk to their physician about what medications are on. I would say yes, they have a heart problem. They have a cardiovascular problem. They should be on the plus cardio care. Plus balance with PTSD, absolutely. I'd also say plus mind and vision for PTSD. So it's all about neurologic balance. So yeah, I think both products would help with hormone balance and with a neurologic function. Plus balance help balance mental issues, or is Zmunity our best choice here? That's something, Zmunity has really surprised me. I made Zmunity for immunomodulation. It's proven to help modulate the immune system to work the way it's supposed to. We started getting now literally dozens of testimonials about mood elevation, cessation of suicidal tendencies with the Zmunity. So there's something about the Zmunity, something in the mushrooms that's actually helping with as an antidepressant, as a mood elevator. Because it's not clinically proven as such, we're not allowed to say that. We're not allowed to put that in the label, even though we have testimonials to that. So it's still a mechanistic wonder to me. I don't know why it's acting as a mood elevator. I need to look into that. I haven't had time yet, but certainly something I'm interested in. Now, the Plus Balance, by balancing hormone levels, should actually have that function. It should improve energy metabolism, prevent chronic fatigue, and act as a mood elevator. So it's certainly good to take both, you know, but if you have suicidal tendencies, you're taking this immunity and you're benefiting from that, don't stop. What do they say? If it's not broken, don't fix it. You're doing a good thing, keep doing a good thing. Barbara thinks I'm incredible. Thanks, Barbara. I think you're incredible too. Love the flavor of the shake. Flavoring source. Oh, well, the cocoa is cocoa. And then they have protein maskers and metal maskers that are all natural. They're basically using forms of fractionated stevia. So it's natural stevia they take pieces of to have a benefit. And then lastly, there's something called molten chocolate. And so in chocolate, there's an actual molecule, component of chocolate that is the flavor chocolate. So they do a chocolate extract that takes out just that molecule and we add it to the product. So that's the flavor enhancer. We just list as natural flavors. They are all natural, but I love the chemistry. I love the fact that there's a single molecule in chocolate that gives it that rich chocolate flavor. And just adding a little bit of that, just a pinch of that, made it taste so amazing. So those are the flavors. I've told you all my secrets. Will balance help lower triglycerides? Probably, because triglycerides, now Neil's calling me. I wonder if he's on the call telling me to stop talking. So triglycerides are really interesting. They are balanced by the liver. A healthy liver function should balance triglycerides, but I'd also be on the plus fiber because the plus fiber is clinically proven to lower triglycerides. So you should be on that too if you have high triglycerides. Someone with vertigo, well, it really depends on the source of vertigo. Some people have Meniere's syndrome. There's also inner ear infections. There's all sorts of things that cause vertigo. If it's hormonally mediated, like Meniere's, then yes, the plus balance should help. And finally, would Zmunity help with ADHD? I don't know. It's not clinically proven to do so, but I think between our products, the best thing we've seen for ADHD so far is just the cell defender. Take getting toxins and the heavy metals, volatile organics out of the body. We've seen incredible benefits with the kids with ADHD. All right. That was like Jeopardy, Dave. I'm at the bottom of my list.
You're one person, just PCOS. It seems like this is hormonal. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I would say absolutely. I think the plus balance will help a lot with PCOS patients. And then someone asked about vanilla. Everybody wants vanilla because they don't understand how flavors work. Everyone thinks vanilla is a good base, and from vanilla you can make anything else. And that might be true of most things, but vanilla is a natural flavor enhancer. So if you have something that tastes bad, vanilla enhances that flavor. So the biggest issue we have is the mineral content, and the meal replacement has a metallic flavor, and some of the other components have bitter flavors. Vanilla would simply enhance that. And I know we're way out of time. We're going way over, but years ago at Rexall, we launched a product called NutriKid School Aid. It was the first fatty acid meal product for kids. So we added DHA and EPA from algae to it, and that was going to improve neural networks in children. And we had clinical evidence to that effect. Now they use it in everything. Carnation Instant Breakfast has it now, but we were the first to launch that product. I made a great, delicious Dutch cocoa chocolate version, and marketing came back and said, we want vanilla. We don't want chocolate. I said, the chocolate is delicious. It works. The problem is you have fatty acids in here from algae, basically fish oil. It tastes like fish. Chocolate is a flavor masker. Will mask that flavor. Vanilla is a flavor enhancer. If you make me make this vanilla, it's going to taste like vanilla fish. And they said, we don't care. Our distributors want vanilla. If it's vanilla, they can add fruit to it. If they want to add some chocolate syrup to it, they can add chocolate to it. Make it vanilla. I did what they told me to do, and it was disgusting. It was the worst product launch in the history of the company. Nobody liked it. Almost every single product got sent back to us because guess what? It tasted like vanilla fish. So I don't know if we can make a vanilla. I'll try. But certainly, I think chocolate and strawberry are a good start. We're going to make the chocolate's already delicious. We're going to make the strawberry delicious. So you have at least a few choices. And of course, you can add anything you want to it. Neil was adding his fiber to it to get an orange flavor to it. So people are adding other things there. He added, for the strawberry blend we made, we actually added TrimScience cocoa, the chocolate to it. So we had chocolate strawberry. That was delicious. So yeah, so there's a lot we're going to be able to do over the next few months as people try it.
Rick, you're awesome. Off to the races. Let's go do this. Everybody needs what we've got.
I'm going to apologize again for last week. I'm so sorry we got the times mixed up, but I'm so glad I was able to hop on today and talk about Plus Balance and answer all your questions.
All right. Next month, let's have one on our new TrimScience shake. Oh, boy.
Yeah, we'll talk about weight management. We'll talk about how all these new drugs work and how this stuff goes together. We could do a real deep dive on weight management and why the meal replacement is so important. I'd love to do that.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.